Sorry, I can't hear you. What? It was cancelled. Oh, a strawberry. Yeah, it was good.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mixing shit now. Hey guys, welcome back to the Aku stream. I've been off for about a week because my back was really fucked up. I went to the hospital, got x-rays done, got a shot in me, been taking some pain meds, trying to keep it easy. Of course, there was like a 24-hour period about where I didn't take any pain medicine, but that's because we had a first birthday party for my puppy, and I wanted to drink for that because you got to drink for like your young kids' birthdays, you know, what adults do. And because they were dogs, it's like there's even less responsibility you gotta be sober for. Regardless, I'm back now, feeling a lot better. Bethra is moving across my desk just under my mic. She's so stealthy. You guys never know when she goes back and forth all the time when I'm streaming, and you guys never see it. She knows just how to go fly right under the radar. Regardless, we're back at it, and we are playing more The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles today. So we're going to be doing some bad voices. I got my lovely wife, Reika, here with me. Say hi, Reika. Oh, I didn't hear that. Didn't... Wait, what? Do that again? There we go. Okay. And yeah, we're just going to be hitting it up. Oh, there's actually... Look, there she is right there. Little Sethra in the wild. Sethra, look at us.
Oh,
there she
there's
is.
Sethra.
Yeah, there she
There's
is.
a little kitty cat.
All right, let's get into the game. It's enough preamble. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching, we are live YouTube and Twitch right now. Usually stream a few times a week, trying to get more into it more often. And we normally do one spooky stream a week, and those are always great. Good fun. So drop me a follow if you haven't already. All right, advertisement over. Music, quiet down. And let's play. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Well, I like the way the background's now changed because we're on the ship. Just doing some Coke Zero. I got some Mountain Dew Zero here also. We'll be hitting that up in just a moment when this is done.
I had a popsicle.
You did have a popsicle.
Popsicle.
Popsicles.
Popsicle.
We all need a popsicle.
We all need a popsicle.
Okay. Last thing we did was we talked to Herlock Sholmes here, and we discussed that book where there was nothing written.
Oh, that's awesome. It did?
I'm just doing some Coke in liquid form. Alright, so I'm going to check this thing out here. Look at this. Look at this. 0. Oh, yeah. 12 o'clock, nothing. 12:30, nothing. 1, nothing. 1:30, nothing. But then it's fucking blank, boys.
Blank.
Oh, yeah. What this means, something was going on here. And that's why he wasn't here to report it. Okay, but right now, it's time to move. Movie. My internet's being fucky because it's Monday night and it usually has a hard time, but oh man, that timing amazing. Gotta get some auto-tune. Oh, I would like to do have like an auto-tune setting. That'd be fun as fuck. All right.
Goodness, no.
Let's move it. Bum, bum, bum.
Passageway joined the first Kazuma's out.
No, you don't need to. You don't need to voice act that part, baby. I gotta remember exactly what it is we were up to. So the check mark means there's nothing new to report. When I mouse over something. And if it's not flashing at all, that means there's nothing to look at, period.
When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed.
It's quite a small bolt, and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. Yeah, but we already know that there was probably a jolt and that slammed all the books over, the statue over, the bolt over. Might have even killed, or at least severely damaged Cosma. No wonder no one suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. Okay, yeah, but we've already been through all this shit. Yeah, I know, the watertight doors, they can't do that. Yes, we know. Okay, I didn't mean to do that anyway. Because I want to move to Miss Pavlova's cabin. There we go, something's happening. Babe?
Ah! What's that?
My God, that scream though.
Oh god. Okay, this is very annoying and loud.
Oh shit, what's happening? Shut down the engines immediately! Vessel sighted a quarter-mile 4! Full stop, hard to starboard, all hands, brace for impact! What the?
I think we're about to crash into another ship.
What?
I can't stand. Just
Sasada-san! Ah! Ah!
that was intense.
Sasada-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all?
I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san.
Look, the bolt's closed. On the door. Told you boys. Got it, we fucking
Your
got
line.
it. It looks like we avoided a collision and the bolt is closed, just like I predicted.
I think.
Yes. The ship has come to a stop.
Oh my goodness. What about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine. Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like...
Inspector Hosonaga?
Okay, well, that was not his voice. Is that you in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly. God, I gotta get back into these voices. The what? The bolt?
Look at that.
The door's bolted. Did you do that, Sasato-san?
No, I didn't touch it.
Oh, that's strange. How did... And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again.
Naruhodo-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in?
I better tidy this place up first. Why? Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. To be continued. God damn, we should have just gotten to the to be continued last time. We were right fucking here. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
you know, stuff happens.
God, adventures. The Adventures of Ga! Alright. 9th of January, SS Buria, Miss Pavlova's cabin. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Sato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. You, what are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Oh, so he knows. Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming, crew are running everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment.
Oh, I see.
Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Babe, that's you.
You. Oh, I don't remember her voice. You.
Like
You
female
wicked
Russian.
intruder. I don't know how to do a Russian voice.
Okay.
Dressed all in black. You are the devil.
Sorry, me? I've been caught a lot of things before, but devil is a first.
You opened my traveling case. How could you?
There we go, that's pretty good. What? No, we didn't touch it.
That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector.
Yes?
Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man? Oh my gosh, bitch.
Duh, and he is stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe?
Take him away. He is a trespasser, as well as everything else. Oh my gosh.
Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right, you are devil. Doesn't look good, does it? There is cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait, a cell? Oh, great.
Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do?
This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options.
This is terrible. Miss Pavlova is an actual murderer.
This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Okay, I just need to keep calm and focus on the task at hand, which is investigating.
Don't touch my things.
You want me to show you where crawfish hibernates? Shit.
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think you're doing?
Wow, everyone's attacking me. And I was just starting to think she was my friend. Okay, so that did not go over well.
Oh, what the? Where did he come from?
Okay. What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles. Naturally. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. You again, the great detective. Ah, Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak! An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes, the case of the curious murder that took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved by me, naturally. What?
Really?
Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. God, if he fucking says it's me, so allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Are we doing another dance, boys? Ha! You have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew what was responsible for killing student boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is this stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it. The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim, because as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who is inside the cabin.
Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Duh, locked room. That is point.
The room was locked.
Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from the outside of the cabin. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all.
What?
Oh yes, there is another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The ventilator? Go! You think this is funny? You cannot even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. My man Beef's got the beef. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Oh, yes.
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madame. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Time to find a snake, boys. Yeah. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your very cores. Behold. Kia! Ah! What the?
Oh, that's why his face had those markings.
Yes, that's true. We just solved the mystery of Mr. Stroganov's weird facial markings. Oh, dots. Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the Speckled Band. A snake? Indubitably. Which, I mean, knew it was a snake already, but that's okay. Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Hmm?
Yes, you're right. I think in this case, you'd have to call it a striped band? What did you say?
You both see and observe with distinction. However, do you not think that this is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall?
Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap?
How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explained the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I am sorry for the young man who died, but it is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Liar.
There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin.
Ah!
And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No.
She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi.
Good job, Snake. Good job.
Looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. It's obviously a constrictor anyway. So, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Oh, it's time for another seductive deductive dance. Intruder's identity. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
Oh, no, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No?
What? I don't know what you are talking about.
Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as the bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. A snake so dreadful, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. In conclusion, a beloved speckled snake. Topic 2. How Mr. Osogi died. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend.
This makes no sense.
There is no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt.
You don't...
It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend.
Train?
Indeed, you put the serpent through the ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny this snake has undergone such training?
Not true.
Poor beef.
I don't.
Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs once more. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible.
Your logic makes no sense.
Conclusion: death by a venomous snake's bite.
It's not a venomous snake!
Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band.
I love their reaction faces.
Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Yeah, I don't think he knows much about snakes. But no, I always love the different like faces and reactions of characters in these games, and this one is amazing so far. I also like these 3D environments. They're like really fucking cool. Incredible. You've solved the mystery. No, Ryunosuke, no. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Sherlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand.
Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes?
But of course, what's on your mind?
It's just about your deduction before. Some things don't quite make sense to me.
I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. Loud and proud, boys.
Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You are well informed, madame.
And reptiles, don't drink milk. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistling.
think that that's actually true. Hold on. I think snakes actually... Do snakes not have ears? I don't think that's true. I think they do have ears. I mean, they don't have, like, visible ears you can see, but... That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I can see that they just suck, but... Oh, but no eardrum. This even talks about you can't Whoa, 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 look at this. Did even... Okay, when a rattlesnake shakes its tail, does it hear the rattling? Scientists have... Oh my god, what is up with all of this? Okay, go away. Holy crap. Blah, blah, blah. There's been this enduring myth that snakes are deaf. Behavioral studies have suggested that snakes can in fact hear, and how this works has gone one step further and explained below. Blah, 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 blah. It was still unclear, however, whether snakes could hear sounds traveling through the air. So biologist Christian Christensen, oh man, that's a name, of, okay, blah, blah, Denmark, took a closer look at one particular type of snake, the ball python. Studying them wasn't easy. You can't train snakes to respond to sounds with certain behaviors, like you might be able to do with mice, says Christensen. Instead, he and his colleagues used electrodes attached to the reptiles' heads to monitor the activity of neurons connecting the snake's inner ears to their brains. It says on the frequencies, blah, blah, blah. Snakes don't seem to be responding to vibrations that these sounds cause on the ground. Too weak to cause. Search. Okay.
Honey, come on, let's get back to the game.
Ugh. Close tabs. Okay, so it looks like snakes do have ears, but because they don't have ear drums, they can't really pick up noises traveling through the air like most other animals can. They have to like get the vibrations through their body, like on the ground. There you go. It still holds. You couldn't whistle at the snake. But madame, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sound of a flute?
I think perhaps the performers played their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes.
There is one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in this cabin.
Then it should try harder.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this.
Also, I'm pretty sure the snake isn't hers. I think it's his.
Biff's.
Yeah, I think the snake is Beef's.
Biff's.
Dots.
Blech.
Dots.
I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh
I
no.
like how they switch to English, Mr. from when they're talking with the English and Russian people.
Yeah. Oh no. You don't mean.
Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deduction. and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
I had a feeling this was coming.
That was coming.
That was coming. This, that. All right, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down at your wrists again. What? You've done it again.
Your handcuffs are gone.
Where did they go? Fear not. I shall see they're restored after our work is done. I know, it seems to me like the only person who's not an idiot in this game so far is Kazuma, and unfortunately he's dead. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The erotic, methodic, seductive, deductive dance. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. How do I cut in again? I forget. Okay, here we go. It does automatically. She does have a pained expression on her face. She's eating a cookie.
Yes, that's true. It looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
But you're not sure if Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly. Is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then?
Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova.
Aching heart. Right ear. Oh yeah, I can turn, right? Oh, claw scratch.
Oh, Naruhodo-san, look. That looks like a very painful wound.
I recognize that wound, boys.
That scratch.
Looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. And fairly recently, too.
Well, whatever scratch her doesn't appear to be around here.
But it could end up being a rat. It's at least a small claw.
She has such petite ears among that beautiful hair. Like little pink shells. That's so weird.
Oh, what's that? There's something attached to her ear.
I expect that's what's called an earring. It's a little piece of jewelry.
An earring, is it? It really is tiny.
Perhaps part of it's missing. Maybe it broke off? So now all that's left is the clasp part that attaches to the ear.
If that's the case, she doesn't appear to have noticed that it's broken.
She has such pretty ears among that beautiful hair.
Oh, what's that? Let's see, hold on. Let's see if it gets to something. Okay, here we go. There's something dangling down from her ear.
That's an earring. The crescent moon part looks as though it's made from wood. It's charming, isn't it?
Women do seem to love adornments like this. In their hair, around their necks, on their fingers, and even hanging from their ears, it seems.
Well, jewelry is beautiful, Naruhodo-san.
She really does look troubled.
Yeah, it's hard to believe she's putting that expression on to fool us.
Maybe he's
Sorry.
eating so much. It's almost like she's actually staring at something.
What do you think?
Perhaps something's physically causing her pain. We should have a closer look.
Cat scratch? Oh, Naruhodo-san. That looks very painful wound.
Yeah, we already did this. Is there something I... Oh, I have to present it. I forgot. Sorry, I forgot. Gotta present.
Yes!
Paw scratch. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, the claw scratch smarts with pain.
Why is it smarts with teeth?
Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night?
Ah! Blech. When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from the wound is worse.
And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they?
No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow.
And snakes are weird. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers?
We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer. There's a picture on the table.
Oh, it's a cat.
Oh, and look, there's a bell.
Yeah, but the bell. Remember, half of it was broken in the room. Oh, look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away.
She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she?
Yes, that's true, but personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we'd better take a closer look at this. Where's my little black creature? My little black creature is nowhere to be found right now. Look at the little cat Miss Pavlova is cuddling here.
Oh, what a cute little kitten! It could be by with you, couldn't it, Naruhodo-san? For the blackest outfit?
A black kitten. And from the look of this picture at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attached to it.
It's
Yes!
so cute!
Yeah. Without a doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear.
Oh no!
The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you?
Ah! Darka is my best friend. Oh, Darka.
Cody gets like the snake better not have eaten the cat.
I couldn't leave her behind.
Darka would appear to be a Russian blue.
The cat I wanted.
And yet, the fact leaves us in a quandary. The thing I do have to point out, though, is that the snake doesn't appear to have any bulges, so I don't think it's eaten anything large recently. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
Cat boy.
Babe, don't look at me.
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's sloughed skin. He's chewing.
Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back.
If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known.
Oh yes, boys like that are Mr. Shum's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something.
I thought deduction was a specialty. Maybe making me believe that was a ploy too?
Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake.
In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Oh yeah. There's the stick handle for it. Well, it's speckled, and it's a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. And that looks like a handle on it.
I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently.
How was that a toy for cats? No, that's what he said.
Oh, I didn't.
I was so in character, my wife thought I didn't know what a fucking... I call them fishing toys, because it's like a little fishing pole.
Yeah, they're a fishing toy.
Okay.
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens, and particularly, love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it.
Haha, that sounds positively adorable.
It is!
Yes!
So intense. Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. He died from a cat allergy. A truly
He died from
troublesome.
tripping over a cat.
A truly troublesome feline, young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Photograph of Miss Pavlova and her friend, a kitten named Darka. The tiara she would wear on stage can also be seen. I think it just looks black, maybe because it's a black and white photo. Or a, what did they call them? Pictograph?
It was after I gave her her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Voice changed again. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator.
Yep.
Darka, she's so naughty.
A beloved kitten.
The picture might be black and white. Cody Cat.
Yeah, it's just a black and white photo. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been appraised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom.
What Mr. Strom says is true. There are no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body.
That's right, but Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned.
Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other. His neck... Oh.
His neck was.
Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. So with this face, Seaman Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something or someone.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though.
Presumably, Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. Cat just comes up and breaks Kazuma's neck.
I suppose
Nothing personnel can.
it's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident.
Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it.
The baby panther. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man, like you. Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow.
Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened?
No, look at the thing. I thought you could choose from that picture they were giving us.
What? No, it opened this up automatically.
Yes!
Oh, the skid mark. Yeah.
Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results, the undeniable ingredients of shoe polish.
Huh.
And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason... Oh, it was a quick Miko. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped.
Please, no.
And, by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life.
No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama nearly tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it.
I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened.
But
And if this part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes.
where? I wonder.
Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere.
We checked through here before.
A tiara.
Trash can.
Traveling case. Let's take a look at the traveling case. This is where Miss Pavlova hid her friend.
That's right. And it wasn't a snake, after all.
No, it was that little kitten she calls Darka. Not that it's anywhere to be seen now. It seems to have let itself out of the case and gone exploring.
I expect it's wrapped itself around someone's head somewhere, trying to make a new friend.
Either that, or it's scratching their hand to pieces. The point is, where has it got to? Okay, can't go up and down.
This is a waste basket. This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them.
But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably, there's not much rubbish in there yet. There we go. Oh, what's that?
A broken piece of glass, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before.
If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you.
Yes!
That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that wastepaper basket.
Ah!
Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Sogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly.
No! Oh no!
So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why, it would be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the wastepaper basket in your cabin. You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not?
I don't...
I don't know. In that hushed Russian accent of yours, won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What?
Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be...
The picture that we just found.
Yep.
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka.
I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry.
Death by tripping over a cat. Solved. Deduction complete. Elementary. I have a feeling that we're going to be having this for the rest of the game. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night.
It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands.
People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments.
He was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it?
Yes. And I had read that rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me.
Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really.
I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next door cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping.
So at that point, you thought it safe to try to lure the kitten back again? By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin.
Arca always loves this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return.
So the faint whistling sound Cosmo wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then...
Oh, that's a fateful thud, everybody.
I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out, and then, oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Cosmo was.
Sad.
And Dodds. From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems he shit himself. I mean, it seems likely what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up.
But how did she have the bell in her room?
The SS Buria is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Asogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards? I'm guessing it's hiding underneath the wardrobe, which is why Kazuma wrote wardrobe? That part's still very weird to me.
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator.
Okay. Yet Darka is nowhere to be seen.
I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again.
Gracious, that cat is is as insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself at least.
When I woke this morning, I heard that a young man in the cabin next to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back.
Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it? And where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board this ship? Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirosco. What? That snake belongs to you? He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here. Yes, how did that snake get in this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Ha! We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend, without someone who understands? Didn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better? But, my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake? Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in.
Not venomous.
No venom. Pirosco does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny. It's venomous. Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Oh, like they say, they milk chickens? Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Pirosco eats mouses. Big, fat, round mouses. Ah, oh, so is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for? Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. Dots. I refuse to drink milk. It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord, and it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It is not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Pirosco is nothing to do with this incident.
A good snake. Good snake.
Dots. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. Dots. Dots.
Blah. Miss Pavlova,
Thank you, Cody Cat.
I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But
What are you talking about, Miss Mikatoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident. Possibly one involving Jim Carrey or maybe even Neil Patrick Harris. Dots.
too many dots. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. I don't think he does either. But even I can see that was not the truth.
Hmm.
Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Dots. To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. I confess. I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh. I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Betty Cat says if Sasato wasn't lawful good, she would def be a vigilante serial killer, lol. Ah, not again. When did he do that? Especially as they are on your wrists as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. Cosmo was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. About how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo.
So then, shall we begin? Yes. What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident, or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instance. But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident. Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been
because if he instantly died, how did he write wardrobe?
Been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident.
Yes!
The truth is clearly recorded in this pictographic print. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. That script, it's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language, Japanese in this case.
Maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast.
That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry, what do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There is no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor, and the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death.
Asanaga?
Bro, she went through the vent and wrote sorry in Russian. Oh! This is something that's been bothering us for fucking ever. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead.
That's not the only reason, either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there if what Miss Pavlova told us was true.
What? So Sasato-san has noticed it too then. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words...
He fell.
Yep, it's gotta be that bell piece. Oh, I just gotta push present, that's right.
Yes!
This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. But that's the glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin?
Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that wastepaper basket? Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no.
Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up his or her own guilt.
Yeah! Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Asogi's...
Hold it!
This guy.
You are wasting time. Someone else was there? Duh, of course, we know this. What are you talking about? Finish her, Cody Cat says. Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. And only other person in cabin when young student died was you.
Yes!
It's true. I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I could have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Ah, ha, 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 ha. Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor. In an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. And then the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away, leaving half behind as was always going to raise questions? Yes, well, it was part of 1 o'clock it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would have barely cast any light onto the floor there. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item.
You all suspect me, don't you?
Hold it!
Where did the snake go?
Semen Stroganoff. I still think that's really fucking gross. Semen Stroganoff.
Man, seaman.
Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. Ah, so that's it. You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin? But that is not possible. I give my tooth. Well, this is most interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? You are a great detective. You should know. Look through Thin Eyes' cabin book and was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Yet, it's impossible. He's right.
Wait, I've read about this in a detective story. Oh god. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside.
She's the one that disproved that. Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship, constructed of heavy steel, with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets could have been used.
No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so...
Okay. Sato-san, how could you shift it onto me like that? So Seaman Stroganoff Gross has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from outside. Not necessarily. What? I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside? One way does spring to mind, yes.
Do you really know what Mr. Shomes means, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, and so should you, because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside.
The bookshelf. The bookshelf.
Yeah, I know it. It's not turning blue.
Yes!
Okay. It's supposed to like flash blue, but okay. Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and all things have toppled over?
That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before.
Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over.
I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia, acting on the objects.
She has a lot in that little book.
What is that book
Oh,
filled
here we go.
with? There's so
Is
many
there
random
nothing
info.
Sato doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books on the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door.
Ah!
It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... Hello? Is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like...
Inspector Hosonaga.
She has... Cody Cat says she has the Book of Holding. It has endless knowledge that is learned by a person anywhere in the world every day.
Oh, yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across the locked door.
How about the Book of Many Pages?
Book of many pages.
Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed, or the force of ineptia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Asogi was killed... The SS Buria made another emergency stop? When I woke up this morning and I looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over.
Oh yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I?
Then, when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin.
Oh my!
Do you have anything to say about this, Mr. Pavlova? Dots, are you out of your mind? You say Buria made emergency stop? It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room? Oh, it's simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside, used to trigger the emergency alarm?
Oh yes, of course. Oh, there was a notice, wasn't there, telling you only to press the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity.
Oh God.
Dots. Wait, it was you? When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interests of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. Dots?
Dots? Mr. Sholmes? Surely it wasn't you who...
As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. He sounds almost proud of himself. How dare you mess with ship! I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learnt a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider...
Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, did this ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You are idiots. Buria is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop, even in middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea.
Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? So here we go.
Oh, yeah,
Yes!
Seaman Stroganov, gross. It's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship. Isn't that right? Duh. That is correct. Why? And the ship's log here. This would be where you record the details of your duties? What are you doing with that? That is mine! Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop a little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as a responsible passengers, we took it into our care, with a mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. That is where I always put it. Or put it always. The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase, "nothing to report," every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log? That is, because nothing happened. But if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you? Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Buria. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish! Dots. If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh, why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night.
Well, no. That's a good point.
An excellent point.
Dots. What of the throbbing? Sorry?
The throbbing.
What do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it.
Ah!
Oh, yes. I have had a headache. I have had a headache. You're right. Blah, 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 blah. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today.
Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head.
Throbbing.
I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe. And I had these handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all of that was happening to me? We got fucking concussed. Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes. Sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Well, Cosmo looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take
We ate
it?
it all.
Yes, in fact, I had all of that. Cosmo wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's
And he was
right.
the only one awake.
He didn't touch it. Is that relevant? Same with the girl. Because she also didn't eat the chicken. Because she snuck aboard.
She snuck
After dinner.
aboard that night.
Dots? My dear fellow, does that not strike you?
Oh,
Oh,
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken?
I
Yeah.
do. No. Really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with.
Yes.
Tampered with by the addition of a soporific designed to... I accidentally pushed the button. A sleeping drug? Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop?
Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea.
Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What? Well, seaman? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. Dots. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be hauled over the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade. Dots.
Please, no more. I will tell everything.
Eh?
I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe.
Yes. So when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help, everyone together. She threw away everything, her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. Da, we could not make all drug. How you say, dissolve? Ugh, talk about heavy seasoning. At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boat. While all the passengers of the SS Buria slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained. So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who dislike chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Cosmo's cabin door. But how does that make any sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins, after which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night.
Yes!
The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. And so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. Dots. You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night.
But I don't know about any of this. I am just a little girl.
You like to speak with your strong English words and explain
You're long.
your long English words, which are not as strong as I, and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. That's like literally a thing. It's called like a whale tale, right? Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. A laudable trait. Oh, God, I'm getting my stuff mixed up. What? I am quite certain of the same disposition. Oh, I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind?
What accusatory cry of guilt?
Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. So, Mr. Naruhodo, with your assistance, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said, of these two It's not the right one. I don't. Hold on.
What are you doing,
Looking,
babe?
just a second. I'm looking this up. Noun, a person who speaks falsely, a liar. And how do we pronounce this? Come on.
Prevaricator.
Prevaricator. Thank you. Of these two prevaricators. Learning words, boys. Observation.
If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened.
Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. All right, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. Chunky arms. Booyah, boys! Oh, look at this. It's some kind of stain in an unusual place. Babe.
Yes, you're right. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken.
Ink. And look at the color, too. It's clear where this came from.
Yes!
His eyes look like the wings of a masquerade. Seaman Stroganoff, gross. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there. Eh? Oh, yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from. So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain? What are you trying to say? It would appear that the significance of this stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform.
And I think what made it is clear. That does not.
Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright, then the evidence that proves what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's gross uniform really is.
Yes!
Yes, it's this photograph and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink? A rather unusual color of ink. Purple. Ah, the penny drops at last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform in that way, which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilt. Dots. All right, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in dead student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Buria do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel.
Biff, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet.
Biff, please. You must help me.
I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw student boy on floor. What happened here?
Bleh. Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend.
Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Sogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor? Yes, that is right.
I still.
So, after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers? Only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel?
Blech.
The door was not locked, so she opened to look, and you already know what happened after.
Blech. There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Osogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why?
I already told you when Nina opened door of student's cabin and looked.
I was asking Miss Pavlova.
Well, Miss Pavlova?
Ah,
I think it's supposed to be da.
da? Oh,
Oh no. Wait.
yes, that is right.
Okay, yeah, see, it was da.
I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you.
So, is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death last night? Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes? This photograph... Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly, and the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there is one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural. What do you mean, unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, well... Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck. Which part of this photograph is unnatural?
Fist.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because when you fall.
Well, because, like, the finger makes sense because somebody wrote the thing in.
Yeah, but when you fall.
Yeah. It's called Cyrillic language. Cyrillic? I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but...
Yes!
Alright, if he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then this fist just doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet, here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something like an earring. What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow?
Why didn't they search him beforehand? I don't understand. Mr. Sholmes, show us, please.
Why, of course, my dear madame. Would I keep you in suspense?
Yes.
This is what I found.
Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle.
Yes, you're right. A crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us?
Everything.
It tells us nothing. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe as I try not to burp into the mic. Find the answer with your own eyes.
Her earring.
Yes!
Miss Pavlova, on your ear there. I see you have a crescent moon as well. Oh! What?
Blech.
And on your other ear? There seems to be a crescent moon missing. The little link holding it must have broken, I suppose. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there is only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Asogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Asogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. Dots. But then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? Because he fell, I'm telling you guys right now, it's because he fell backwards and tried to grab onto her to steady himself, and instead got the ear ring.
Oh, no.
Angel.
Oh, no.
No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma? Things are exciting.
When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in the cabin, and I could relax after this horrible long day. Darka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Darka would not come back.
What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. I got to do Kazuma's voice one last time.
A young man from your country. He
was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. Oh. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin. Just a
No,
moment.
no. This is him.
Just a moment. Sorry, but
Oh, yes?
I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before.
Ah,
Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
no. I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina?
Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment.
I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice.
I see. So you've run away.
Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
He's going to pull the cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him? Oh, was it Max? Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then Darka jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And as he turned around to look at me,
That'll do it.
I pushed him.
Oh man, if the back of his neck hit that bedpost, that'll fucking do it.
I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me. No, she didn't mean to
Dots.
kill him. I kind of feel
And
bad.
that-
She's like 15 years old. She was running away from Russia, from her
Yeah.
ballerina. It was just a series of unfortunate events.
I know, and we didn't even have Neil Patrick Harris or Jim Carrey to make us laugh. And that's when you went to fetch help from Seaman Stroganov Gross, who was
Yeah,
on
but
duty
this guy,
out in the
though-
passageway.
Was just trying to help a friend.
I heard Nina cry out and thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said,
Help me, Biff.
If they,
If they-
oh,
If they find out, I will be. Please, I have nowhere to go.
so you decided to help, and that's when you arranged things in Cosmo's cabin to make it look like I did it, so that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door.
yes. I went to cabin and looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway in wardrobe, still sleeping.
Right, that's when he found me.
So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway.
Dots. I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper sign.
Luckily for me, that's the only reason Sasato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent.
I dragged young man's body to good place and used ink that was spilling to write on floor. I wrote so that person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find stowaway. And tell me, what of the glass bell?
It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
I see.
But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half.
Then Angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job by pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway.
Ja.
Yes. Accordingly, the SS Buria did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolt in the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. Dots.
There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova.
What?
Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland. And it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem?
But it was what he said first that made me scared.
What he said first?
What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector?
Inspector.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
He said an inspector was his friend.
Ah, yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard.
I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. But so before he could pull the bell cord, I May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Dots.
Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret away, then he wouldn't have done.
No, he was walking over to it. Well, I don't think he was. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back. No, I don't think so.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There is one more deduction to make.
What? Another deduction?
Yeah, I think so too, Cody Cat.
What action was the victim really about to take at that moment?
Oh.
Can we determine whether the young man's gaze was directed? First, consider the victim's location within his cabin.
That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. That cabin has been my home for this entire voyage.
So this is how the cabin looked last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama?
Yes, it's exactly how it was.
Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, if there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So,
So
when he
sad.
turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Cosimo looking at?
The wardrobe.
Take that!
Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly it may have looked as though Cosima was going to ring the bell cord.
Yes, however, what is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe.
Wardrobe?
And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe?
Is a good
The
friend.
man's great friend, sleeping soundly.
Ah! Miss Pavlova, please think back very carefully. What were Mr. Exoti's exact words last night?
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
Another opinion.
Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter,
This is so depressing.
to see if, between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt.
Oh, no. Sadly, we can't know that. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had. Mm.
Miss Pavlova.
She looks so sad.
I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that.
I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done? This sucks.
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking depressed, boys.
She
And
didn't
so,
mean to do it,
At long
and
last,
now she's forever.
the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Buria is finally laid to rest.
I don't think she's gonna go to jail. She's 15.
January 9th, 7:14 p.m. SS Buria first class cabin passageway. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now then?
Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard.
What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her?
Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out.
Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia then?
No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return to in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life.
I see.
I'm sorry. Seaman Stroganov, gross? I've wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you. About how you lost good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police.
That's kind of you.
Good job, Biff.
In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Cosima's death, feels like such a waste, but... Well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Duh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the council to arrange your passage back to Japan.
Yes. Hey, Daniel, stop. I did stow away after all. I couldn't expect any different, really. Any different.
So, you should get back to your cabin now.
It looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it's even begun then. To think that only days ago, Cosmo and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. That seems like a distant memory now. That's... Oh. What's that? Is it someone weeping? Sasato-san? I mean, if someone was weeping in my room, I probably would notice it, especially if they were just a little bit over to the left.
Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned.
Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack, you know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. Oops.
I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that.
Sasato-san.
He had such grand ideas for this visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away, just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth, that it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much.
Yes, I know. Question mark person says, I wish there was something I could say.
Inspector.
My duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain, but I failed, and I caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down.
Yeah, he heals fast.
And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder.
Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now, at least... Huh?
Surprised, Mr. Naruhodo?
What is the meaning of this?
Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry? So I decided to restore them, for old time's sake. Shall we say, you are a stowaway after all?
He thinks this is funny?
Do Japanese people just think this is how Sherlock Holmes was?
Mr. Sholmes. Oh, that was you.
Mr. Sholmes, a pleasure. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Not at all. No, not at all. Not at all. And though it is a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be 1 lawyer and 1 assistant. Was to be. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Oh no. I don't care for me, but... Poor Sasato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know? All you require is 1 lawyer and 1 study tour can continue, surely.
But there is no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer.
I like the subtleness of like his character moving slightly and then shifting his eyes to look at her.
Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid.
Ouch. Oh, but...
But anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer.
Huh. Yes.
Thoughts? Miss Sasato?
Yes.
Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it?
But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law?
No, I'm not, but...
I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain.
Mr. Naruhodo.
That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all of that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if, by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learnt enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma. He said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen.
Oh.
He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit, too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Miss Sasato?
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you. So, what does our bespectacled inspector friend say? Are you serious? 1 lawyer and 1 assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No. It's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating. Duty and rules are the dual routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector! After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here.
Oh, thank you, Inspector.
If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next and how best to make my report.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I'm gonna try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer?
I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant, after all.
Judicial.
Judicial.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take charge of this.
What? Me? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted.
Oh, look, and his bandana is wrapped around it.
Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Soge clan for generations.
Very well. I accept. I'll treasure it always. So then, Mrs. Sato, it seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet.
It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo.
Hey, Daniel.
And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom.
Just a moment.
I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom.
Sorry for the mic bump there. Dogs are just playing real loud.
We shall fill every spare moment with study.
Yes, that's exactly what I need.
But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you too.
Goodness, what is it? Daniel's barking at Miko because she's running around the other side of the table and he can't get to her. He's playing Carsies.
Please throw me to the ground. 3 times.
It's getting a little hot in here, boys. Oh god. Okay. Oh. Okay. Hey, this bird. Okay. Here I go. What?
I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me.
How about we all stop throwing people to the ground, especially since somebody just died with that happening?
And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior.
No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away, and the cabin door was locked from the inside.
No, I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you, and not just once, but 5 times.
Wait, why did she want me to throw her 3 times then? Ah, that number keeps creeping up, doesn't it?
Please, you must. Just take a hold. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it. Don't
Yeah.
even think about it.
She hits the same thing and dies. I use her finger to write wardrobe in Japanese and then climb into the wardrobe. No. I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
I observed your throwing technique several times with my great interest. I confess I was most impressed.
When did he see that?
I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling?
Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujutsu technique.
Apparently it's called the Sasato takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me.
How beguiling. I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a somewhat accomplished boxer.
There he goes, dancing around again.
I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw?
Yes, I'd be honored.
Stop throwing people around! Someone just died in here from this shit! Oh damn, Miss Blackout's playing Elder Scrolls Online.
Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madame.
Oh, of course. Uh-oh.
He's gonna
Are you
demonstrate
ready?
on me! No!
Wait, Mr.
Sorry?
Hiya! How does she do it? As you can see, throw from the abdomen.
I like they have an upside down model for him too.
Oh yes, arresting indeed. And that is what you term the Sasato takedown, is it?
Actually, no, that was a Sasato squash. What?
In my groggy state
Yeah.
in my groggy
ship
state
it.
of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Cosma flickered into my mind.
Susha show. Sasato and Sholmes.
He died, game over. Karma? Or Karma?
Karuma.
That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan.
I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. That's true, weapons aren't allowed. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely?
A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name
compels the wielder to slice evil in two. Not that you would need much compelling.
On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain, and I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me.
Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what that was. But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. Maybe what he wants to do is see justice done to what's her name, Swan Lady. All right, boys. Boys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, ghosts, goblins, ghoulies, Hungry hippos. That's gonna end it for tonight. Cody Cat, thanks for being here. Reika, thanks for being here. I know there's a few people that if they're not watching currently, it's kind of hard for me to tell, even maybe on YouTube, which by the way, I am streaming live on YouTube as well. Go over to the ending real quick. Put on some music. So yes, there might be some Baylanders watching, maybe perhaps a Ms. Blackout at some point. And of course, my dearest cousin Leviathan might see this at some point. But for anybody who happens to be watching, no matter where you are, who you are, whenever the hell you're watching this, I had that order mixed up. Thanks for watching, guys, seriously. If you enjoyed it, drop me a follow on Twitch. Give me a like on both, I think, maybe. If there's any bells, make sure you tickle them. You can't ignore the bells. And with that, we're done for the night. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed, and I'm just going to say, take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Love you. Some really fucking weird outro music.